So the first step in diagnosing a Subaru misfire should be hooking up a compression tester. So I have it hooked up. Let's test compression and make sure that's good. Lower. Alright, so what we found out is the engine has compression. It might be a little low, but also this jump box is pretty dead. Wasn't turning the engine over too fast. When I took the plugs out for that side, they were gapped to like 0.048 when they're supposed to be 0.028. So that's a big gap difference. So I also took the plugs from this side and put them in that side in case those were fouled out. Yeah, so I swapped the plugs and I also swapped the coil packs because the coil packs on that side were aftermarket and the coil packs on this side were OEM. So I swapped the coil packs. It looks like they probably had a misfire code and went to change the plugs and they didn't gap them properly. And then when it wasn't running right with the new plugs, then they put new coil packs on them. And then, yeah, it still wasn't running right and then sold the car. So we'll see. Alright guys, so I took that compression clip and I was expecting it to have low compression and I was going to post like a 1-minute video saying that's the only step you need to do in Subaru troubleshooting because it's not going to have compression. But somehow this thing does have compression, so that means there's a different issue. And I did a bunch of troubleshooting and let me show you what I think it is. So you can see the timing marks over here line up, and this is the side that was firing normally, and the timing lights or timing marks over here, they are, you can see down here, they are way off. So the timing's off. That's the issue, and the center mark is straight up. So yeah, timing is off. Obviously it's off, so that's a good thing because the car still had compression, so it shouldn't have any bent valves, and it was running and everything. So if I correct the timing, then hopefully it'll run great. Probably even bump the compression numbers up a little bit because timing's perfect now. So my diagnosing consisted of I swapped the plugs and coils to this side, the side not firing, still wasn't firing. I disconnected the coils on this side and I was going to start it by just putting gas in the intake and seeing if this side would run, showing that we have a fuel issue on this side. And before I even put gas in the intake, I tried it and it was like bump, bump, bump. So it wanted to run and I gave it gas and I would hold the throttle like halfway and then it would run. But yeah, it sounded like timing was an issue. So the next step after that was to look at timing. But the car, it would, yeah, so this side would not really fire at idle, just be dead. But when you revved it up, it will be running on all four again. So again, timing. So I'm gonna put it in time and then start it how it is. And it should be running like normal. And then I'll order a timing belt for it because this one's probably stretched. It looks like it might even be the original. All right, I think the timing marks are correct now. So I'm gonna start it. Got the MAP sensor unplugged and see how it runs. That's all four. It's a 4-cylinder again. That thing is running pretty good. Yes. Yes, Subaru. Yes. Can't believe it. Well, I'm very happy with that. I'm really not sure why I bought this car. I didn't buy it to flip because it's just beat up and rusted, and I don't know. But it was $1,500, which I think I overpaid. But I kind of bought it because I wanted to swap the whole drivetrain into my 6-speed one and sell the 6-speed, because nobody's buying that car. So, but I also was hoping the engine would be good because these engines are worth like $1,000. So, I mean, now I think I got a decent deal. But now I probably got to order a timing belt kit, and they're like $200. So then I'll have 1,700 into this thing. So, oh man. But that is really exciting that the engine is good. I bet if I compression test it now, the numbers will jump up a little more. So yeah, that's definitely exciting. Don't know why it jumped timing, but it jumped it. Or I don't think a belt was installed improperly because it all looks like OEM equipment and the belt has no markings on it. So it all wore away because it's so old. So I would not be surprised if that's the OEM belt or it's been replaced like once at like 60 or 80,000 miles. I didn't even give you guys a good walk around of the car, but it's not in too terrible shape. Ooh, jack stand. It's not in too terrible shape. Like, the worst part is the quarter rust, which wide body. Got the little trunk guard thing. What else? Rust right here. Might just throw some fender flares on it and it'll be a winter beater, who knows? And then this fender is the worst part. Maybe if I can find the fender, put it on. I don't know what I'm doing with the car. I don't know if I'm taking the transmission and everything or not, taking the engine too. Who knows? Here's a good sign. Looks brand new inside the engine. Timing belt kit's about to go on. I sprung for the Asen one. Comes with all the bearings from Japan, belt, water pump. And it even comes with the thermostat housing gasket. I got one of those, so you don't need one of those if you get this kit. And a new metal gasket. The other one on here was paper. And it comes with this nice paper that shows you how to do it with all the marks. Even tells you labor hours. Alright, so here's the old bearing. And the new one. No noise. Alright, timing belt is all on. I put the covers on. I'm gonna start it now and just make sure the covers aren't contacting the belt anywhere or anything weird. Alright. Seems to be running fine. Alright, so everything seemed to be running fine. Now I can button up everything in the front, put the radiator in. I'm going to take the radiator up to my house and flush it out first. Then I'm going to fill it with water and some cooling system flush, and flush this cooling system a bunch before I fill it with coolant. Alright, got it all together. No radiator. I'm going to drive it up to the house real quick, put a hose in here, and try to flush it out as best as I can before I put the radiator back in. Running pretty smooth. Bleed in the cooling system. No check engine lights yet. Not bad. This thing is actually running and driving pretty good now. The only issue is there's a slight hesitation at light throttle. Once you give it a little boost, it goes away. So I'm gonna clean the MAF. It's storing a code for the upstream O2 sensor, so that might be causing it as well. I'm gonna swap the one from my other WRX first, and if that's good, then I'll order a new one of those. So I took the mass airflow sensor out to check it, see if it needs cleaning, and you can see it just has so much dust on it. So maybe this was my hesitation. Yeah, this thing looks rough. When I was on my maiden voyage to the gas station, I didn't put the radiator brackets in, and it was zip tied before because this one's broken. But I didn't put those in, and it leaned back and it cut open the upper radiator hose and it blew coolant out. So I had to pull over. Didn't overheat, but lost my coolant. Luckily I was near my friend's house, so I pulled in there, got a new hose, put it on and zip tied it, put some water in it. I have to flush it anyways again. Now for science, I'm going to compression check it again and see how different the readings are versus the original time I did when timing was out. So cylinder 3 went from like 120, 130-ish to 160, 170. And cylinder 1 went from 110, 120-ish to 160-ish. So that is a big bump in compression. That's pretty healthy for these engines, so I'm happy with that. After I cleaned the MAF, I cleared the front O2 sensor code and took it for a drive, and it has another code for the front O2 sensor. Not the same one. This one's a low voltage code. The other one was something else. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it's pointing towards the front O2 sensor, so most likely needs to be replaced. All right, I got the old O2 sensor out. Had to get a little bit physical with it. As you can see, it sawzalled it off. That way I could put a 6-point socket on it. And yeah, it put up a fight. I slightly rounded the edges, and that's when I sawzalled it. I don't want to get this stuck in there because I don't want to replace the headers or anything. So yeah, just cut it off, 6-point socket, and slowly go at it. But it's out. Now I could put the good one in, and hopefully that fixes an issue. That test drive was pretty successful after swapping the O2 sensor. It seems to be running a whole lot better. Now when I do wide open throttle, it's even, you can tell it has more pep, so everything seems to be running more smooth. It's actually pretty quick. I'll take you guys for a ride along once it's complete. For now, I'm gonna charge the AC system. But before we charge the AC system, it has a leak because it has no pressure basically. So the question is, where was it leaking out of? And I can see right here, there's the dye residue. And a second ago, I could actually see like a little bubble bubbling out of there. So that's the leak location. Every other spot looks good. So I'm gonna replace the O-ring there and then charge the system. It's on. Got it just above the green right there, looking like 50 degrees. That's pretty cool. Man, so it's smelling like rat pee when I put the air on. I wonder why. Let's see if this is the wheel bearing that needs replaced. I think it is. I'm gonna say it is. Here's the other side. Solid. Alright guys, that's about it for this quick flip of a WRX. Somebody's actually coming to see it now, and hopefully they buy it. It is all back together, and it runs and drives pretty well actually. It doesn't look too bad for, I think I have like around 1,500 into it. Gotta do the full breakdown, but I mean, it'd be a nice winter beater. Obviously the rocker rust, but you know, for the money, what are you gonna do? The interior's not too bad. For a quick little get around town car, I mean, for the price, it's not bad. You can hardly find cars under 3,000 or 4,000 nowadays. You can see under the hood, I left the intake on and the Turbo XS downpipe, which is a pretty cool downpipe. It's pretty big right there, like 3.5 inches, I think.
I put the stock blow-off valve back on, got one for 20 bucks from my friend. Alright guys, so the WRX did end up selling, but let me show you a little sneak peek of the new project to come. I'm definitely excited for the new project. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next one.